All right, let's continue the celebration with another achievement this week. It's the 10th year anniversary of the Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Superman film of 2013. All right, just a bit of trivia. The reason why we're celebrating Superman Day right now is because of this film.
Yes.
The retailers and DC Entertainment actually had Superman Day announced just before the movie came out.
Yes.
So, anyways, for this, what is my question? What was your experience watching The Man of Steel? Do you think it lived up to the hype during that time?
I remember
Where were you?
I went to Odeon Leicester Square in London, which is my favourite cinema, because it's like being in a football stadium. Everybody is up for it. Okay?
Right.
Everybody leaves work Friday and they just pack their place. It is the biggest cinema in London. So anyway, so I sat down there, totally packed. I remember three things that really stood out for me. Number one was how loud it was. The sound was just like really, definitely, my ears were hurting. And that wasn't just like the cinema. It was obviously, what's his name? Hans Zimmer's score, which is a lot of dun, dun.
Yeah.
You know, it was really, really heavy. Two, when Henry Cavill came out the water after he come out the oil rig and he was bare-chested, all the women in there were just whistling and cheering. That was fun.
Okay.
That was a funny part. Everyone's like, weird. Stuff. The women were like, because obviously they had a couple of glasses of wine and they were up for it. Anyway. So anyway, there was that. And then the last part that everybody controversially, I think, completely messed the film up was that last 20 minutes. It went on too long, too much destruction, and that just killed it. For me, the film, I can watch it, and I've watched it, but I switch off. After he first defeats Zod, and then the carnage afterwards. I don't even watch it.
Why? Do you think it's too tragic or what?
It's too much. It is just way too much. And also,
it's a totally different feel from
my whole thing with Superman, and why I will always go back to, the Reeve movies. What makes Superman Superman is the public reaction to what he's doing. So now, if he's saving in the middle of that battle, the public who are watching this knows the blue one's on our side.
Right. Okay.
And they're seeing that he's doing that. You're immediately on his side. You're like, right, and then you could, get behind Superman. We've got somebody behind us. But there wasn't that. It was just like focus too much on them. Rubble. And it's like, all right, screw the humans. Let's carry on having this tear up. So you just felt like he didn't care.
That's where Bruce Wayne is coming in. All right.
So then you're just you're looking at that. You're just like, I am now absolutely bricking it. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Are they gods? Are they aliens? Hold on a second. Yeah. They just made that broadcast before. Yeah. These two aliens, are we being taken over? The US Army is getting absolutely obliterated. Yeah, absolutely screwed. This is panic. So yeah, I'm watching that with just like, nobody really cares. There's no way I can cheer for the blue alien. See now, he just watched everything destruct around me. I don't even know if he's good. I don't know what the game is. But him coming down, saving people like the blue ones on our side. I don't know, is that a government experiment or something? I don't care. He's wearing blue and red. That's the colours of our flag. We're getting behind him.
Right.
That's all it would have taken just to save that. And that's why that last 20 minutes, I can't do it. But the rest of the film was excellent.
How about you guys?
I disagree 1,000%. 1,000%.
This one. All right.
Look, first of all, my favorite two comic iterations of Superman are Superman Birthright and Superman Earth 1.
Right.
And Man of Steel basically took those two and put them panel for panel right on the screen.
There's a lot of Easter eggs in
Yeah, it felt like the movie was special, custom made just for me. When I watched it, when the first time I watched it, I was losing my mind.
Right.
That first flight scene taken directly out of Birthright. The whole idea of him showing up and on the first day there's an alien invasion he has to face. So, and I loved it. I loved how in the Smallville battle he saves military soldiers who are even shooting at him.
Right.
He doesn't care. He just saves everyone while he's fighting. I loved it. The last 20 minutes when he's fighting Zod, people tend to forget. They think it's just two equal Kryptonians.
Right.
This is a guy who, yes, he grew up with his powers longer than Zod, but he's just a farm boy at heart. He's had no training. He never needed any training. Then you have a guy, Zod, in this movie who's genetically engineered to be a general and a war hero, who comes in and now has his powers. So there's no chance that Superman's just going to easily just take him to the Phantom Zone or jail or anything.
Right.
So, and Zod, when he lost everything, what I loved about Zod in the movie was he is what most humans would do in his position. If Earth was dying and we sent an envoy to another planet, realistically we would just wipe out life and take over. We've done that to each other half the time.
Right.
So Zod is a villain to us but a hero to the Kryptonians.
Right.
So when he lost everything, he told him, I have no people anymore. It's either me or you. That's how it ends. So Zod kind of wanted to die at that movie. So he pushed Clark to the limit, where even when Clark and him fought and went into space, he threw him back into Metropolis. He wanted a lot of destruction, so he could force Clark to end the fight.
Exactly.
So he put him in a position that would change Clark forever. Because in that movie, Superman learns in that movie how heavy it is to take a life. That's why you see him in BVS. He tries as much as he can not to. All the fights are taken away from populous areas. I like how he learns from every experience.
Right.
And that's why I disagree. I love it so much. And also, it's a realistic fight between two Kryptonians on Earth.
Yeah, generally.
There's no
we had never seen that before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
also-
I think that's the reason why Des is actually having that he was taken aback.
Yeah, and also
with all
it's,
the destruction.
it
that
was
happened.
Superman's first day as Superman, so no one would know who this blue guy was.
Yeah.
It's his literal first
No
day
one
that the
knew
public
him.
sees him.
Yeah.
In BV,
You know, going back with what you just said about I couldn't handle the destruction.
Yeah.
The other reason why other people were appalled because one day we saw that for real.
that's true. That's
Everybody
true.
around the world saw it for real. Yeah, they know that ain't no joke.
Yeah,
So for them,
that's
just
true.
you know what I mean. Without
That's why it was so effective.
that didn't feel. Yeah, that didn't rub right with me. So
Well,
maybe
I think
that's
that's-
why.
No, but that's
also-
why you see it in Batman v Superman that he learns from now on. We don't go anywhere that's even remotely near. It's not about being even close. Just try to get them. Even he takes Doomsday. His first idea is to take him into space, and then the humans nuke him and bring him back to Earth. Like his first idea was to take it away.
Right.
So it shows
You
his
know
growth.
what?
Yeah.
Ooh, so now you've opened my can of worms again. My public needs to see this. The Death of Superman, the comic.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
got everybody on there's news, freaking helicopters around,
Helicopters and everything,
people around, and he's in the middle of this massive battle with Doomsday. He's still saving people. It's like this is like the worst case scenario. Everybody, could you just please just evacuate? People ain't evacuating nowadays. They'll be like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hindrance, but it adds to. Do you know what I mean? It adds to
drama.
the whole thing.
That's why it's so
Everybody's got their whole story because there's so many witnesses.
Even in Batman v Superman, my favorite scene is does the world need a Superman? When they show that montage, while he's saving people, in the montage there are others critiquing him and saying, "Do we really need this guy? Who gave him permission?
Right.
He's not allowed to just come in our country and save our people. We see him as a foreign combatant."
Right.
So it shows no matter what he does, he'll face criticism, and he still says, "This is my world." So that's why I love the iteration so much.
How about you?
You know what, T? You know what you just said there would be absolutely brilliant. This is my direction now. You got everybody saying, "Do we really need a Superman?" Hating on him and stuff, and then obviously when he gets dealt with, Doomsday is just still there, smashing up. Saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, do you need him
Yeah,
now?"
we do need one. How about you?
And then he
Will?
saves him like, "Superman's like, move from me, man."
I mean,
How's the Man of Steel for you?
it was a masterpiece. Look, it's also known in all of UAE that I was the first person to have Man of Steel tickets in UAE. Go to the Vox cinemas, ask about me. I saw Man of Steel 17 times in theaters. 17 times in theaters.
I think we'll,
Yes.
we'll have to apply for a Guinness record or something like. Anybody from our viewers who wants to compete with this guy, just comment down below.
7. I saw Man
Now we
of
just have to
Steel.
say, excuse me, Mr. Zack Snyder. Will paid for half of your budget.
Facts. And just so you guys out there know, my daughter was born on March 1st, 2021. And who else is born on March 1st? Zachary Edward Snyder, 1 March 1966. Destiny.
It's destiny. Yeah.
This is destiny. But you know, again, Tariq said everything that I said, and realistically speaking, like, trust me, Des, if you couldn't stop a toddler from crossing the street. If you and I were locked up wrestling in a fight, it would be highly unrealistic that you could walk away from a fight and go save people. I think if anything, that what happened with this new iteration of the Superman, or whatever critiques or beefs that people had with it, it's just that this was a version of Superman where the fantasy element was kind of taken out of it, and you got put into the shoes of what it's like to be Superman, in a sense. And a lot of people enjoy Superman being Superman. They're not necessarily accustomed to engaging him from somebody that I have to relate to, seeing him deconstructed, or walking a mile in his shoes, right? So even when you look at Batman v Superman, right, you're looking at Superman connecting with people that, in a sense, sometimes a society that we don't have empathy for. So when you saw the floods and Must There Be a Superman, these are people in rural America who have been forgotten, you know. Or when Superman asked Perry White, hey, what, poor people don't buy papers, right? You know, this Batman operates in the projects, in the tenements, in the ports, and the police are helping them and nobody seems to care, right? And then you get the scene, you get the scenes in BVS, like, you know, aliens go home, Earth is for humans. So, like, you're looking at Superman, or at least in a sense, like in America, like the kind of types of xenophobias and problems that we have, like within our countries or within the Western world, you know, so to speak. And a lot of people are not accustomed to seeing Superman go through that. And these are the things that will impact somebody like Superman. So if you know anything like Superman, you know a bullet can't harm him. But human tragedies, how we treat each other, how we deal with one another, those are things that can...
And I've always said that those are his biggest weakness, not kryptonite. Everything that you just said.
So remember, yeah, like Zod said in Superman 2, right? That's his weakness. He cares, right? Yeah. So people, in a sense, so now, if Zack Snyder is kind of guilty of doing anything, is that he removed bits of the fantasy element that people like to enjoy. So because there comes a level of escapism, right, with superhero films, or especially with someone like Superman, that people will like to see. And so I think the problems that people had, although I loved it, the problems that people had was that escapism wasn't there. And there were ways, like when he said it was loud, right? There are ways where subliminally that this was real, right? So if you ever jumped out of an airplane, it's loud, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's what the
placement is more realistic.
Yeah, so the placement is.
So you know what you're saying, that Superman has three weaknesses, yeah? He's got kryptonite, he's got magic, and he's got Twitter.
And psychic powers.
He wouldn't survive Twitter today. He would.
Correct. Yeah.
He would have to ask permission before saving you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like, look at, and the crazy part is that we all have different perceptions of good, right? And so it's just like what Tariq said, right? There would be, if Superman was real, there would be people who are thankful. There would be people who will be like, well, who asked you? Right? So if I showed up off the coast of England and saved some SBS guys or whatever the case might be, you know, the British government like, yo, who asked you? Who told you to come here? These are our affairs, right? You keep your nosy little self in America, so to speak.
Even what Des was saying about the destruction at the end, that's why the Batman character works so well. It shows he saw exactly what Des said. He's like, we have these two godlike beings who come, they can destroy us all if they want to. Mm-hmm. So we view this guy as a threat. Even if there's a 1% chance, we have to take him out. Mm-hmm. So that's why Batman, I think, was done very well in the Batman DC.
Right, I agree with that one. So does that think, would you mean that
Superman might have difficulties because of our current setup?
Because of our current state, he would have
yes.
major difficulties and stuff.
Yeah,
In-
I think
so
it's
in a
would have
way,
been.
Zack Snyder's one works a lot better for modern day. Yeah, I mean, Earth. And, yeah.
So going
You're
back-
becoming a better person now.
Welcome to the Church of William Ruffin. So, but going back 10 years ago when this was shown, I think Des mentioned earlier something about, okay, if they had done some more saving and stuff like that, that would be something that he would like to see in that film. How about you guys? If there's anything else from that movie that, you know, maybe they could have added this, or they could have deleted that, or they have not done this. Is there anything that you guys wanted to change from the movie?
No, but he saved a lot of people in the film.
No, I agree.
Right, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, but so it's no. There's for me. There's no. There's
So you're saying that Man of Steel is basically a masterpiece for the current times?
100%. It's ahead of
The
its time.
17 times things.
it's ahead of its time.
The only problem with the movie is that it was ahead of its time. I think
Yes.
that's the only problem.
That could
That's
be
why
the
you
answer for it.
see
Yeah.
the Snyder Cut movement come out. Is over time people are appreciating it more and more.
What's your take though when they say that the movie is a little bit too dark?
I'll tell. Because because the thing is that sad and most unfortunately, because a lot of us are old with gray hairs, right? And we fought many civil wars, right? Nintendo versus Sega, Atari versus Coleco, DC versus Marvel, and it's been proven. Because again, I love the MCU, right? I do. And it's been proven that human beings cannot handle two cool things happening at once, right? We have proved that over and over again, right? So, you know, when we were coming up, right, Nintendo was a family entertainment system. Right. If you preferred the arcade experience, you wanted Sega. But you had people arguing back and forth, but I'm like, a Sega Master System and a Nintendo Entertainment System are two different experiences. But yet you had people arguing about which one was better, which was senseless. And I am so glad that I grew up in a time that I could go into the theater, watch Batman v Superman, and walk right out and go see Captain America Civil War. And so I think what happened was that for human beings, because of the way we are, we couldn't just be happy and enjoy the fact.
You say that. There's a really cool picture I put up on Facebook a while ago, and it was old cinema, and it had Predator. Was it Predator? Yeah, Predator. Superman 3, and one of the James Bond films, like up there on the billboard. So you know, I mean, to choose, I obviously it was like a retro theater that was like showing whatever. But you had some sort of thing to like, you know what, yeah. But now, Marvel's going down, and you know what I mean, DC are just about to come up now. You know, you don't get that sort of choice. I mean, when I went to see, I wanted to see when Solo was out, a Star Wars story,
Right.
and Deadpool 2. Yeah. Never in my life would I think, being a Star Wars fan, that I would have to think, which one should I go and see?
Yeah.
Just
You have so many on your plate available.
Yeah. Also, what I want to say about it being too dark is in the movie you repeatedly see Superman smiling with Lois, smiling with his mother. He smiles at the general at the end. Right. When he has his interactions with the humans themselves, he's always relaxed and calm, reassuring, smiling. It's just that they put that good guy in really dark situations.
Right.
So the movie wasn't dark. The situations he was in was dark.
Itself.
He was still Superman at his core. He was the one I loved growing up watching and reading, and that's his masterpiece. Huh?
Did hear about the public? Didn't know. Didn't witness it.
Well, anyways, we're talking about the Man of Steel and its 10th year anniversary, but a segue into the multiverse version of Man of Steel will be Kara Zor-El, which will be portrayed by Sasha Calle on the new Flash film. So, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, they couldn't get Cavill, so they put her in.
Yeah, I can't. I have to reserve judgment till I see it. But I agree with Des. Cavill is the man.
It would have been better.
Yeah, 100%. It's Cavill. He's Cavill, man. There's nothing better than Cavill.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever box office they make now, I hope it does make $1 billion. You know, people are hyped.
That's what we
would
were
have made
looking for.
$1 trillion if Cavill was in it.
I think that's the reason why we're all hoping and rooting for the Flash right now, because it would give us, other than the two Batmans, is because you'll have different characters portraying different characters that we love in DC. For example,
Now's the rise of DC.
I hope so.
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
But that's the problem, right? Again, people can't have cool things like I said, remember when we were kids, right? You'll be reading DC for a while and be like, okay, wow, they're tripping. Then you would jump into Marvel. And then you'd be like, wow, Marvel is tripping. And then right when both of them were in the pits, you had to walk out from Marvel, and then we got Image, right? So it's so the thing, like I said, it just goes back to the fact that, again, for human beings, I don't know what it is, man. If you give us two cool things at the same time, it becomes a civil war instead of enjoyment.
You know what? Very quick, because we're running out of time here. Somebody was saying about it was the Spider-Verse. No, it wasn't Spider-Verse. In fact, it was. He was talking about the recent run on Spider-Man in Marvel, and you're saying how bad it was. This sort of relates to some of what we're talking about with Cavill, and why you've got so many people that are massive fans of Snyderverse and all that stuff, right? But basically, he was saying that this run of Spider-Man was so bad that he gave up reading Spider-Man comics.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
He goes, and what his fear is, imagine that there's some kid out there that he wants to get into comics.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time he gets into comics, and he reads that. He's now going to think that is Spider-Man. So he's not going to hear you when you're talking about all the great stories that that come before, and this is not Spider-Man. That's his Spider-Man, and he's going to fight for that.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing that happened with Snyderverse for me. There's a lot of people that weren't into. I remember this girl. I'm going to say you, Kerry. If you see this, yeah, you. Kerry's like, I didn't even like Superman until I saw Man of Steel. And she's now, Snyder, I watched all of this, and now that's her universe. She can't listen to me talking about Christopher Reeve and that. She's not having it. That's her thing.
That happened to me when I was a kid. The first comic issue I ever bought for was Superman. And I didn't know anything about I was a kid. I just bought the first issue I saw, and it was the funeral of Superman after Doomsday killed him. Oh. So I'm like, man, comics suck. And then I put comics down, and then a few years later, I'm like, I'll try reading a Spider-Man comic. I picked it up, and it was the What If version where he dies. So I said, man, comics are horrible. I hate comics. Every time I pick one up, someone dies.
You're the one that's killing it.
Yeah, seriously. I had to wait till college
you
to
have
read
a
it.
knack of getting the worst comic at the worst time.
Seriously.
So it's very important. A writer doesn't, modern writer doesn't have the responsibility, don't understand the responsibility you have. You've got to crack out something that is, don't think about your ego, think about the character and what the character is supposed to, the core values of it. Because once you do that, obviously people are going to think then that is their iteration of that character.
I agree. When you concentrate on the character and not what you're trying to say with the character, if you put your own agendas in it, people will hate it. Because there's always but if you just focus and stay true to the character, everyone will love it.
Well, anyways, we have celebrated the 10 years of The Man of Steel by Zack Snyder. My opinion, our guest's opinion is like, yes, it is a good film. Yes. It is a masterpiece on its own time, ahead of its time.
Yes.
And maybe that would be something that we would be going back and watching 10 years now. 10 years from today.
You know how they'll do this? You'll find out how many people love this film. Is you put it back in the cinema. Just like they did the Return of the Jedi 40th and the screen.
Yeah.
That's how you gauge it.
They should have.
They put that back on. You watch how many people are going to go and see that film. All the ones that hated it too. Suddenly realised, you know what I mean? They're going, why are you paying money for something you hated? You liked it then, didn't you?